Welcome back to Heroes and Whiskey. We are printing our way through the D&D 5e Monster Manual, and today's monster number 2, is the Aboleth. I don't have a very deep voice. The Aboleth. Anyway, so let's head on over to my mini factory and see what we find. If you want to figure out what we're doing here and how the process works and how we're making the decisions that we make, a link to the original video is down in the description, and let's head on over to my mini factory. All right, so when you're looking through my mini factory and looking for these aboleths, there's definitely a lot of choices. Some are much more serpent-like, some are much more fish-like, and I think it just comes out of what era of D&D you're used to. And so there are a couple that I wanted to take a look at. There's this one from TPK Lab, a little bit low on the detail, especially with the base, but this is a cool model. There's this one from Void Realm. I've noticed with them, they have a habit of lighting things up in their pictures, even though they don't actually light up. So I thought that's kind of curious. But again, I like the way this one looks, very dynamic. There's this one from Nova Minis, which does look very realistic, but the pose is just kind of there. But again, this is a good option. There's this one from Mammoth Factory. I really like this one. It's a little more serpent-like, but I really like the dynamic pose. Loot also has an aboleth, but it's highly detailed, like all of Loot stuff is. But it always really struck me. It looks kind of like a guy in an aboleth suit. Like you show up to the Schomburg aboleths coming up to the plate, and so it just looks like a guy in an aboleth suit. So I think we're going to go with this one from Mammoth Factory. Let's get it printed and see how it comes out. All right, so we are 2 models into this process, and I already had my first panic moment. When I opened up this aboleth model in Chitu Box, the supported model is not hollow. And so it made me nervous to print something that was quite this large that is not hollow. And so when I opened up the unsupported model to hollow it out, what I discovered is that in the hollowing process, all of these tentacles that wrap around in all sorts of different directions were also going to be hollow. And I have no way of curing these. When I go to cure something inside, I'll stick an LED light in there, and there's just no way that I could get a light deep enough down some of these tentacles to be comfortable about curing this and not creating an aboleth resin bomb. So I had a bit of a panic moment, and I'm going to go back to my mini factory and see what I can see. Okay, so back on my mini factory, I was looking down at the painted figures that are often down at the bottom of a page, and I came across this one from Archvillain Games. It wasn't in the original ones that I had found, but I really like the way this one looks. It looks angry, it looks aggressive, the pose is very dynamic, and so I am going to print this one out and see what happens. Okay, so here's aboleth printed out. It was 3 separate files. It did take quite a bit of time to print. I'm going to throw it on the turntable and we can chat about it. So yeah, this model came out great. It did take a long time to print. I love the details. I love the variety. There's gills, there's fins, there's water, there's teeth, there's eyes, there's tentacles. There's scales, and they just really did a fantastic job with this. Definitely a presence. You drop it on the table, and people are like, all right, we are in for a battle here. Let's take a look at it next to our 32 millimeter Johnny Trinity model. So you can see this is quite large. I mean, the best guess is the aboleth is about the equivalent of 40 feet long from head to tail, it looks, it's massive, it's imposing. And again, the level of detail is just really, really cool. All right, and in terms of resources, the Aboleth model, this one costs $13. It used 150 grams of resin and took 17 hours and 58 minutes. Again, this is over 3 separate prints, but there were no issues with the printing. It came off the supports fine. It hollowed out fine. It was just really easy to print and assemble. And so our total cost is now $31 for these two models. Total resin, we're up over 170, and the total time is coming up on 1 day. All right, so that was the Aboleth. Next up is the animated armor. We'll see you there.